stay in this lane and go all the way around the house.
Yeah, fair point. I'm going to block it up in the middle at the moment. Go on, big lorry. Ah, boy, look at that. It's going to act as a shelter for me. Can't see anything.
No, must have blocked this end off as well. Crash must be right in the middle. I was going to bring you this way as well.
Oh, well, that's perfect then.
No. Ambulance here.
Yeah, I was just hearing that. Right behind us, coming up fast.
Yeah, well. Oh,
There you go, something's gone. Something's gone, I'm done, I've had it. I bet you that's a hose gone. Oh, sorry about that.
Get the engine turned off.
So, what went bang? Well, it's not just a hose that's come away. Actually, the hose itself is intact. It's actually the housing for the thermostat that's broken apart. And down here, somewhere, if I can find it, peek between the seams, there is the broken thermostat housing. And that's got to come off. Before I can do that, obviously, I've got to take the inlet manifold off. It's not that big a job. And while I'm about it, this reservoir looks incredibly dirty. Lots of red sludgy stuff in it. So why not? We'll take that out. So this is where the thermostat goes. I've had to take off the inlet manifold, but I've just sort of shifted it to one side so that I can gain access to get the replacement in. You can see there's an awful lot of crud inside there, an awful lot of dirt. And I think that might give me a clue as to why the car's overheating. All that dirt will be congealing or collecting in the radiator, causing it to block, so that the radiator isn't passing enough water to cool the engine properly. Anyway, let's get this thermostat on. Oh, by the way, I was getting false readings for low coolant warning because a lot of dirt had gathered inside the coolant reservoir, and I think it was preventing the float from, well, floating. I can't get into this. This is a sealed unit. tried to flush it out with hot water, and mind you, hot water is what it'd be used to anyway. That is the sender for indicating whether it is full or not, and inside there you can see that little black line here. That is the float. So when I turn it upside down, oh excuse me, the float drops. Turn it back and you can hear it click as well, moving up and down. So it is free to move at the moment, so hopefully I've freed it enough so it will give me correct readings now. This is the housing for the thermostat, which has split into two. The actual thermal control has disappeared. The spring loading is blowing it apart completely. So we now have a replacement. And there you can see the spring and the thermal reactor inside. Exactly the same. The one on this side I bought is suitable for a Land Rover, not the Volvo, but as you can see there's absolutely no difference between them whatsoever. You can see it's got slightly thicker inserts. This is the top hose that it connects to, which appears to be completely undamaged. This is the end that connected into the housing. Everything looks pretty good there. I can't see any external cracking. Nothing in the pipe that appears to be, swollen or expanded or... Looks good. I'm in the process of fitting the new thermostat housing. I'm wondering to myself, how am I going to get that hose to go on there? There's not a lot of space to reach down. When I suddenly noticed the spring from the broken one got itself caught in the engine, hasn't moved since, just sat there. Probably the most useless thing ever, since the old one is now completely broken. That spring can't be used for anything else. Well, maybe I'll come up with something. I've got the thermostat housing now into place. I've connected up the electrical connector. I've got that hose on, which wasn't as difficult as I thought. I could get my hand in there quite easily. I've got it bolted in loosely. The bolts need to be tightened up. But as I'm working away, I've spotted I now have the complete assembly for the broken thermostat. Why does it matter? It's not like I can use it again. Well, actually it matters because now I can be confident that none of the parts have found their way into the coolant system. The whole thing is here. I am of course being supervised while I'm working, but as supervisors are, they tend to nod off on the job. All tightened up, hooked up, connected, and ready to rock and roll. So the next thing to do is to put the reservoir back on, and of course put the intake back on. Okay, having got her all back together, filled her up with coolant, taken her out for a test drive. The coolant level has dropped way down a couple of times while I was out. As you can see, it's right at the bottom there. And then I discovered we're getting water coming out of her, splashing everywhere. And at first I kind of panicked a bit, thinking that it might be coming from the radiator. And we had a radiator leak. So as I drove up home, only a short run, and after topping up the reservoir again, I left her running a few minutes while I came to see where the steam was escaping from, and I find that it's actually the top hose that isn't connected properly. It's actually coming off, so I'm going to have to refit that, but that's a great relief to me that it's not the radiator and that we've got no other leaks anywhere else. So I'll reconnect that, top it all up again, and let's see if we've got it solved.